Hey guys,
Hi.
Neil and Jo here from the HMO Property Co, and we've got special guest Vincent Valentino as well because
If he doesn't sit on my knee, he's going to be barking. So he's here to stay.
so if anyone's got any questions specifically for the dog, let us know. But apart from that, we are going to talk about all things HMO tonight. We've had some questions sent in to get us moving along, but if you've got any questions to ask myself and Jo about the HMO, then feel free to stick them in the chat box. We'll keep checking them, so if I look away from the camera, it just means I'm checking the chat box to see what's going on. But yeah, let's get cracking. So, first question, a few people have asked this question. Once again, it's what is a HMO?
It's a house of multiple occupation. So there's multiple occupants, multiple people in one house.
Yeah, nice and simple. Simple
That's
as
all
that.
it is.
Nothing else.
It is.
So it's essentially a normal house. It's a normal house because it's still called a house of multiple occupants, but it's got multiple occupants in it. So it is really simple. I think sometimes people overthink it, but the way we design these houses and the way we manage them is really where the magic is. So yes, it's a house. Yes, it's got multiple occupants in it, but there's a certain way to design them, a certain way to set them up, and a certain way to manage them as well.
And I think it's really important to highlight here that a HMO is like a share house, but it's a share house more for professionals. So not what you'd normally think of as student accommodation or living with a dodgy landlord. It's more professionally managed accommodation for the working professional.
Cool. Certainly is. So, two questions came in from Sri. So one of them questions was, what is the minimum investment required to start with a HMO with us? Now, we do two different ways you can work with us. We do purchasing established properties and we renovate them by adding additional en-suites in, creating additional rooms within that house and then renting the rooms out room by room. Or we can go down the new build option and we can get a block of land, we can custom create a 6-bedroom, 6-bathroom, or what we've been doing lately is 4-bedroom, 4-bathrooms on smaller blocks, which are pretty cool. And the two different price point entry points for them two different types of strategy. So established, at the minute, if you're putting 20% down and you're renovating the house and the furniture packs required and all of our fees, you're needing between $200,000 and $250,000 to get you into a good suburb, and your cash flow from that property would be around $20,000 to $25,000 per annum after all expenses. So that's not $25,000 worth of income. The full income on the property would be $60,000 to $70,000, and then property management fees, gas, water, and electric, internet, and mortgage fees come out of that and leaves you with $25,000 a year of cash flow. Now with the new build, we can put 10% deposits down on these, which we're not a big fan of. We prefer 20% deposits because you're not paying LMI. But you can do 20% deposit on a house and land pack in an infill suburb and use between $180,000 and $230,000, and you've got a much better product. 6 bedrooms, 6 bathrooms, high cash flow. Depreciation is absolutely off the scale for these things because you've got so much that you can depreciate. So yeah, established. You can get into the market quicker, meaning that we can probably find you something within anything from 2 weeks to 3 months, depending on what your budget is and where you want to be. And then renovations at the minute are taking between 4 to 6 weeks. So you can get into an established faster, but it costs more money for a bit of a superior. What's the opposite of superior?
Not so superior.
Bit of an inferior product. Or if you've got the patience to wait for a new build, you can end up with a much better cash flow, a much better product, and heaps more depreciation because you can claim depreciation on the building too. Staying on that same question, another question from the same person. So if someone has a traditional investment property or say planning to buy one, what would it take to convert an existing one? So we've kind of touched on that there. The standard property that we look for is the 4x2 that we can convert into a 6-bedroom, 4-bathroom. And that renovation generally costs, depending on the general state of the house, is anything between $70,000 to $120,000, but that's including our project management fees, renovation cost, furniture packs, fire and safety upgrades, all the new drawings for the floor plan so we can submit with council, sign off by council, and all the documentation that you need for insurance policy as well. Now I'll go back to the new build again, because if you do a new build, there's a lot of costs that you don't need. So your fire and safety is included in the build. Renovation, you don't need one because it's a new build. So again, we see a lot of benefits in the new build, and we're actually building a few new builds ourselves and not investing in established properties at the minute. Do we have any questions that have come through yet?
Three.
What have we got? So what is the average gross yield for a 6x6? This is from Tinker. So average gross yield for a 6x6, our target for our clients is 10%. 10% gross is generally where we sit. 5 bedroom, 5 bathrooms, we're generally getting around 9%, and 4 bedroom, 4 bathrooms, you're generally getting around 8%. And that 8% gross yield is still getting you $15,000 a year cash flow at an 80% LVR. So depends on what you want. A lot of people, we did some 4x4s recently, new builds, and people absolutely love them. So we're going to do a few more of them. But if you're looking for the highest cash flow possible, then 6x6 is the winner. Brendan, minimum cost. So we just touched on minimum cost there. Jonathan Gallo, what are the ways to reduce utility costs by room? Is it solar panels to reduce electricity and or sub-metering?
So I think solar's always good, but there's also, if you've got split systems in each of the rooms, there's the aircon off remotes that we tend to encourage clients to have so that we can keep the temperature at a more efficient level and time it so that it can go off after a certain amount of time. Because yes, people, if all bills are included, feel like, well, how you do when you go to a hotel, that I'm not paying for this, I'll leave it on all the time. So yeah, we put those measures in place to make sure that doesn't happen.
Yeah. And we also, when they sign their contract, they are aware that they've got $25 per person per week included in their rent for utility use. So if a high bill comes in, we can then go back to the tenants and split that across them. You can't actually do that in Queensland, but you can do that in WA. And
it's a good way as well for other housemates to let the property managers know if somebody is abusing the utilities, because they don't want to have to fork out for the bill. So it works quite well.
I've got a question coming in. Tim Lowry. Hey Tim, how are you? Can I get a completed product for under $850 on one contract? Look, we are looking at ways we can do this. At the minute, no, but give us 6 months and I dare say yes, because we're working quite hard in the background with some builders that are looking to get the land, whether that's on builders terms and they build the product for someone like you, and then we sell that as one contract rather than as a house and a land contract. So watch this space, mate, and I dare say within 6 months we'll have that option for you. Is there a build to sell model for a faster chunk of money instead of cash flow? Vincent, you should really speak to Tim. You could potentially build something. If someone wants to just buy a block of land, build these things, we can help you with all of that, and then you can sell it on to Tim. That's a potential option for you. And look, there probably is a build to sell model that we haven't actually explored yet, because why would you want to sell one of these things when they produce the cash flow that they produce and you're getting 10, 15, 20% cash on cash return on your cash in the deal? Oh, I'm getting some error features on my thing. So you're getting 10, 15, 20% cash on cash return year after year after year, plus you're getting capital growth as well. So sometimes if you buy a block of land and build these things and sell them, then you might make 50 to 100k profit, which is good. But if you also sit in the market, some of our clients have bought properties at like 350k that are now worth 450, plus they've been getting 25 grand a year cash flow for the last 3 years. So depends how you want to do it, but there's definitely options there for that. What is the capital growth for rooming houses? Tinker, I'm going to come back to that one in a second. I'll just go to this one for my wife, because I feel like I've been talking for a while. Yeah. How do we vet tenants, and how much demand is there in reality from professionals?
So how we vet tenants is, we call them housemates or residents, and we use application forms where they put in a professional reference, so from their job, and also a personal reference. So obviously we check those out. We check to see if the people are actually working in that employment. We ring the employer's office. We don't just take any email or any phone number. But most of all, we check people's social accounts, just have a little scour over them and make sure that they are who they kind of portray themselves to be. So, you know, you might have Dave who said, I don't drink, I like to read books, and I don't have any pets, but his profile picture might be there with a Rottweiler with a pint in his hand, so then we know he's probably lying to us. And not only that, I think good property management have really good intuition. So the team that we've got really do vet them in the sense of talking to them when they're viewing the properties, and just getting a really good sense of the type of person that they are. Demand, yes, heaps of demand. And I think not only the way that the rental market is at the moment in WA, we've seen a lot of people who probably wouldn't normally look at this style of accommodation come to us to say, look, we're pretty desperate, can't get any rentals, can't get anything quick enough. But even before that, there's so many people who need that more affordable option. So we're actually just crying out for more rooms, not more housemates, that's for sure.
True, very true. And look, as the market gets more and more expensive, plus the lack of rentals that are on the market right now, there's a real opportunity for you to house some really good people and make some good money at the same time.
We've got some really good people aging from 18 to 73-year-olds living in the properties. And, you know, some of them have come from unfortunate situations. They might have come from breakdown in marriages or abusive relationships, and they're finding a community from the house that they're living in. So we've actually got some really nice testimonials and case studies of the people who are living in the properties that we currently manage. And it's nice. It's a feel good. You're giving them opportunities that they wouldn't normally have in the standard rental market.
We call it profit for purpose. There you go. Tinker, what is the capital growth for rooming houses? Now, we get this a lot. And the easiest way for me to explain this for you is real estate goes up in value. So the land component is what goes up in value. And from the day that you build an investment property, that the property itself goes down in value. This is why we claim depreciation on our investments, because the government let us write off that property going down in value or going down in condition over time. As it gets worse and worse, the depreciation we can claim becomes less. So what we try to do is, while you're holding the asset, the real estate itself, we want to put another asset on top of it which produces an income for us whilst the asset goes up in value. So you're getting a cash on cash return for your money in the deal, but you also it said it was going loud there. You're getting a cash on cash return for your money in the deal, and you're also getting capital growth from the land going up in value. Now, real estate's a long-term game, so if you're just looking to make a quick buck in 2 or 3 years' time, then this probably isn't the strategy for you, although you will make some money. If you want to hold the asset for 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, however long that may be, you'll get a return in the way of rental income every single month when we do disbursements, and you'll have an asset that's going up in value. Entry price for 6x6. The currently entry price house and land packs are sitting around 720,000. That's full turnkey house, land. Sorry, the Facebook technical gremlins really do not like me, because every time I go live, it always seems to go wrong. So look, we're here, we're back. Grace is going to help us out with some of the questions that got pinged through. Zach Ridderhoff, hi Neil, can you do consulting on the renovation if we found a house and want to do the reno ourselves before we turn the property over to you and J&G Property Management? Look, you can, absolutely. We can consult on deals for people, and we have done in the past, but there is a standard that we will accept into the property management business, so I'll let this beautiful woman tell you more about it.
I think it's really important that when you want to do your own HMO, but you want the same results that we get, we do have to deliver the same standard. So we do have clients that want to bring their properties to us at their standard and get the prices that we always say that we can deliver, and that's just not what we can do. So I think that if it is a consultation, we always say if you can leave even the furniture packs down to HMO team to complete, or at least when we consult, we make sure that the spec is as per what our standard would be.
Correct.
And that's even just to go and be succinct with everything that's on our website and everything that we're coming at as a brand, because people are coming back to us for our properties that we manage for people because they know there's a certain standard. So we want to make sure we maintain that.
Yeah, good answer. Good answer. Jonathan Gallo, what agreements are you using? For example, is it on a co-tenancy agreement? So we have, because of the scale of the business that we've got now, if you're doing this yourself, I'd recommend just putting people on Form 1AAs and sign them up as normal tenants. But because we've got just under 500 tenants now, which is crazy when we think about the fact that this all started with one house in Hammond Park in 2017, we've had to get tailor-made agreements made up for our tenants, our housemates. And the way we structure the actual agreements within the house itself, because a co-tenancy means that everybody goes on the same agreement together, meaning everybody pays the bond together. And then if one person moves out, then everybody has to sign on the dotted line for that bond to be released. And then the new person has to go on the co-tenancy and everyone has to sign on the dotted line for the bond to be submitted. You can imagine when you're trying to juggle 10, 15, 20, 25 houses, that becomes quite frustrating. Own individual agreements. And they've got exclusive access to the bedroom.
Yeah.
And they've got shared access to a common area. And the next question that we normally get is, well, who's responsible for the common area? Every single tenant or housemate in the house is responsible for the common area. And when you are joint responsible for something and somebody else breaks it, person or them other people will always dob you in.
Yeah, and it always happens. And the property managers inspect the properties regularly, with them being individual rooms. Once someone leaves, we're always going in there to do those viewings. We do the general quarterly inspections and a 6-week inspection when someone first walks in. And also we send a clean team round every fortnight. So they become our eyes and ears, as well as keeping the place maintained properly. So yes, the residents are the people who are responsible, but there's other measures in place to make sure that it never gets too far.
Okay, so
do you want to go on these ones?
Got, yeah, I've got some more questions here. So capital growth in a HMO, we touched on that one earlier with the actual land component going up. Maximum number of occupants. So in Western Australia, I'll start on the other states first. So the other states have clear. In Western Australia, we've got a policy that allows us to have 6 unrelated people to live in the definition of a dwelling. So there's no tenancy regulation around it. This is literally a design code regulation, which is bonkers more than anything, because if you build a dwelling, which is a class 1A house, you can have up to 6 unrelated people living in that house. Then that's basically what a HMO is. It's a house of multiple occupants. We're not a lodging house. We're not a boarding house. We're not a rooming house. We are a house of multiple occupancy. Now, if you go 7 unrelated people or more, then you are technically classed as a lodging house. You need to go to council through development application. You need on-site managers. You need waste management plans. You need
loads of parking.
Yeah, loads of parking. It gets really complex, and it is something we're looking at the minute. We've got some 10-bedroom designs that we've been working on and speaking to various councils about them. So again, watch your space. It could be something that we're rolling out in the near future. Do all rooms need to be accessed internally? Now look, you need to be careful how far you push the boundaries with these things. And believe us, we push them like to the extent, and we've had various conversations with local councils and our town planner, and our town planner's been an absolute legend through all of this. And we've really found the sort of sweet spot that councils will and won't accept. If you start making these look like apartments and they're all accessed from outside, I can hand on heart guarantee you that council will probably not approve that development application, because remember, this is a house of multiple occupants, not a block of apartments full of multiple occupants. So the minute you start making it look like class 2 or class 3, then council will make you apply for a development application for that building code. So yeah, remember, it's a house that we're doing these things to. What kind of people live in a HMO?
Oh, you can't pick it really. Lots of different types of people.
What have we got? What's the age range that we've got?
So we've got from 18 to 73-year-olds. Currently, when we've looked through our data, we've got the majority is late 20s is where we're sitting at the moment, but we do see a shift in this at the moment because we're getting more people attracted to this way of living, and there's a more older demographic that require this accommodation. But all of them are working professionals, so all of them we make sure we've got a job, there's some way that they can pay their rent. And even if it's a part-time, and some of them do study as mature students, but we do try and avoid students. So we've got anything from Uber drivers, doctors, nurses, plumbers, beauty therapists, massage therapists. We've got heaps. People who work offshore, engineers, just
doctors,
all,
nurses, engineers,
everyone that you
vets.
can imagine. And then retirees. So we've got a couple who live in a house with young 20s, and they absolutely love it. They're there for human connection. They don't want to, they got rid of their big house. They use that money to go around Australia and go into these this way of living so that they can just do a bit more at the end of their lives.
And moving on from that question, which rolls right into the next one, do you believe they call it a segue, is how do you resolve issues between tenants?
Good property management. So when we recruit for property managers, we don't recruit on property management experience. We recruit on their ability to deal with people. So we kind of say they're people managers, they're not property managers. Managing a property is easier than managing people. And I know standard property managers still have to deal with people. But with this, we have issues, obviously, within houses because it is people at the end of the day. But we try and mediate it. We sit down with them. We get everyone's side of the story. It's just communication. I guess communication with the property managers and make sure that we can kind of simmer things before they get out of hand.
Speaking of communication and get things getting out of hand, it's an angry
He's such
dog.
an old grumpy dog.
And communication is just key to everything, isn't it? Whether that's business or running a house or even having a good relationship. As sometimes when I don't communicate, I get told about it.
Yes.
So, next question: can I easily get finance for a HMO? Not my answer to that one. Okay, so for the last 4 years since we started this business, it's been really difficult to get finance for a 6-bedroom, 6-bathroom house. And that's because when the banks look at it and the suburbs that we put these in, they go, A, we've got nothing to compare this to. B, it looks like a rooming house, so we need to classify it as a rooming house. And because it's a rooming house, we need to do a commercial lend on it, and it needs to be a 65% LVR, and you need 35% deposit, blah, blah, blah. The rates are high, blah, blah, blah. The big game changer that happened for us just before Christmas was in a new lender with 2 new aggregators came into the market. And these 2 aggregators now see a HMO for what it is, not what it's compared to. So when they look at the 6-bedroom, 6-bathroom design we've got, they can see why it costs $120,000 to $150,000 more to build it, because we've got 4 additional en-suites compared to a 4x2 in the same suburb. And they also look at the cash flow for these things. So if you've got a 6x6 and it's renting out for $75,000 a year, they'll use that $35,000 a year towards serviceability. Now, I'm not a broker, so I can't say too much on the actual requirements and small print for that product itself. But it is a game changer it's a game changer for our clients, it's a game changer for the business, it's a game changer full stop. And when we look at the UK, there is heaps of lenders in the UK that lend on HMO product in the UK. It's going to happen here. Now these first couple of players have come into the market, expect more, and that means more competitive rates, more options. This is the start of a big wave. The HMO in the UK is the go-to investment vehicle for investors, and before long it will be the go-to vehicle in Australia for investors. Savvy investors have been doing it for years. Mum and dad investors will start slowly coming into the game as more and more of these get rolled out and it becomes more common and people start talking about the barbecues and stuff like that, and generally by that time it's too late. So my sort of comment on that is get in early when no one else is doing it, because that's when the best gains are to be made. Not to be saying that you won't make gains in the future, because there's people in the UK still making serious money on these things.
But I think anyone who's sceptical and holding back doing it because they're at a barbecue and someone hasn't heard about it,
Uncle Jono.
Uncle Jono
Sounds
says
like a scam,
that
mate.
sounds like a scam. Just tell Uncle Jono to have a look at the UK, look at other trends that are happening around the world, because it's not coming from us. We haven't invented this, we've just brought this into WA because we wanted to act upon this for ourselves personally and then as a business. But I think it just speaks for itself how much people are doing it in other countries.
The cash flow from these investments literally changes your life. You just got to think about what will an extra $25,000 to $30,000 a year cash flow do for you personally, and then when you start stacking 2, 3, or 4 of these properties on top of each other, and you replace your income, and then you no longer need to work, but you work because you choose to, and you can then start volunteering your time, helping other people. It literally, it's a game changer. I'm seeing more gremlins here on my screen. It's saying I can't use this feature at the minute, so I seem to get so far through my lives and the computer just
I
gives
think
up.
it's still going though. Is there any more comments come through? Any more questions?
Got a few. Do I have to use cash, or can I use equity in an existing property? Look, everybody's circumstance on that one's going to be different. It all depends on how much equity you've got, how much cash you've got. The short answer is you can use both. You can use either or both. Again, just need to speak to a good broker. Now, going back to that lending product I spoke about earlier, not every broker knows about this. So if you take our plans to your broker and they're just a run-of-the-mill run-of-the-mill mortgage broker, they don't have access to the brokers that we do or the investment products that we do, then there's a high likelihood that they will stuff up the application. So if you're going to go through this process, we've got the full team here for you. We've got the mortgage broker. We've got the accountant that can help you with advice around minimizing your tax and structuring yourself correctly. So you don't need to reinvent the wheel. We've got the team here for you to use. You can just tap into them. No additional cost from us. I mean, we just want you to have success, and we've built the team for you. And no more questions coming in yet. If I went the conversion route, how long would it take until I had tenants in the property?
Well, from when it's finished, the conversion. So depending on, so this is obviously if there's a renovation required, so that could be anything between 4 to 6 weeks. What we tend to do, I mean, we can't obviously promise this, but in the last probably 10 renovations we've had, we filled them within 2 weeks. So some of them we fill within a week. One of them we did 2 weeks ago, where we filled it before it even went live. So it all depends on the location that it's in and the type of market that we're in. A couple of years ago when we were doing it, they would be filled within probably 4 weeks. It was about 4 weeks, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And sometimes there's one room that's a bit slower to go, but once you get them all filled, if you've got 5 rooms filled, it's still a good amount of cash flow that you're getting anyway. But right now, as we're standing in the market, they are getting filled super quick.
Before they're finished at the minute. Yeah. We've got, because we've built the reputation that we've built, and we've housed so many people, that we're getting not just inquiries through the website, but we're getting referrals from people that live in the accommodation that are referring their friends to us. So before properties are being finished, we have a Monday morning meeting every Monday, and the project management team and the property managers are all in one room, and we say, this property is coming available next week, and the property managers will start letting people that ring them, I haven't got any rooms available for you right now, but next week I've got a property in this area and the rooms are going to be this much. And if you want, I can probably take you through in a couple of days once the furniture team have finished, and we can get you signed up from there. And that's generally how the business is running at the minute.
Yeah, and we're getting our property management team kind of work across each other. So they've got their own patch, but if someone comes into that patch, they want a particular type of room, we'll just pass them on to other property managers. We have the current housemates that might move to another area because they've moved work locations, and they always come to us and say, what have you got in this area? So yeah, we're definitely building up a good database there.
Yeah. So look, we've been going for like 35 minutes now, and I just feel like I've been wrestling with my computer for 30 of them 35 minutes. Have we got any more questions that are coming through? I've been logged out of your laptop there. Oh, cool, there's some more here. Sorry, the tech issues, missed some things. Can you share average startup cost for a buy and convert? Yes, okay, Marcus Aurelius. That's a cool name. Yeah, look, I'll cut over it quite briefly. So you're looking at around $200,000 to $250,000 for an established purchase. If you're putting 20% down, plus stamp duty, plus renovation costs, plus fire and safety, council submission, furniture packs, project management cost. So looking around 200 to 250,000 there. The new build stuff, we can get you into a new build 6x6 single story for anything from 670 for a 4x4 to 720 for a 6x6. And your costs required for that are between $160,000 to $220,000. But the difference in returns is substantial, especially at tax time. Norman, great information, Susan and I. Hello, Norman. Norman is Norman and Susan are some of our clients. Have done 2 properties with us, about to do another one as well. So look forward to working with you again, guys. Look, going to finish off with 2 more questions. We've done the vet and tenants one, haven't we?
What about this one?
How do you charge for your projects? Okay, good question. Thank you, Chris. So with our new builds, we charge a concierge service fee. It's kind of like a buyer's agency fee, but we're not really acting as a buyer's agent because our concierge service offers so much. So it's $15,000 plus GST for the concierge service. That involves us sourcing a block of land for you, sourcing the builder for you, taking care of the design for you, taking care of all the council lodgements for you, project managing the builder for you, and making sure that they hit their milestone payments when they're supposed to, milestones of the project when they're supposed to hit them. It also includes a inspection from an independent building inspector at the end of the project. So that means that it's independent from me, independent from the builder, and he'll come through and he'll absolutely tear that job to shreds because that's his job. So you will know that we've selected a good builder, and you'll know that the builder's done a good job because this building inspector will do his job and make sure it's being built correctly to the National Construction Code. And then also included in that concierge service, we also take care of the depreciation schedule from BMT. So that means at tax time, we'll give you the depreciation schedule and you submit that to your accountant. And
get a good return.
then you get your cash flow plus all the depreciation.